All right, here we are. We are live. Welcome to the Designers Show. I think this is show 144
4.
or something like that. How about that? That's
Nice.
cool. Welcome,
Hey, I got a new
everyone.
member. Did you see that?
Way to go.
Hey,
And it's
Jared.
Jared.
Way
You
to
know
go.
Jared.
Hey, boy, Jared. Is he on? I don't know.
Hi, Jared.
Anyway, welcome, everyone. And Rene, Robin, John, Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
Morning, everybody.
Um,
Bill,
Hey,
it's morning.
guess who I got-
It's morning.
Guess who I got to have breakfast with this morning?
I give up.
Who?
Patty?
Kenny Crocker.
Oh, Kenny,
Oh,
buddy.
hey.
Crocker.
Oh,
How's
you are
Kenny
so
doing?
lucky.
Yeah,
How's
it was
Kenny
a lot of
doing?
fun. He's
Cool.
doing
Hey,
great.
Kenny, there he is. There's our bud.
Hi, Kenny. How are you?
All
You're so
right.
lucky that you got to
coming
have
to the summit?
breakfast with him.
And
There's
Mark
Mike.
Batty.
Hi, Mark from New Hampshire. Cool. All right. Well, Kevin and I just got back from Iowa yesterday. We spent 3 days down there training a group of lumberyard associates that do plans for their clients. Nice group, nice company. So it was
Pretty
really a joy
incredible.
to work with them. So it was a lot of fun. And there's a lot of old towns down there. I didn't realize that. 1850s, 1830s. I mean,
Yep.
some of the old architecture is really, really nice. So,
Hey,
Kevin,
Norman, how's the weather in New Zealand? Gosh, and it's tomorrow. So, is there anything you can tell us about the future?
what
Is
happened?
it
What
better
happened
than
today?
where we are? Is it better than where we are today?
All right, you guys. So this class was titled Plan Review. This class session, whatever we call what we do, and nobody sent in any plans, so we're kind of winging it here. So if you guys have questions, Robin, here's your plan. Let me grab that.
Okay,
If
and
you
I'm
guys-
just I have to preface this. This is not really a plan. This was
Well, give me
actually for
Wait a minute.
Okay.
We'll get to it in a minute. I got to unload it
Okay.
and look at it and stuff. So if you guys have questions, we'll do Q&A today, whatever you guys, whatever on your mind, and we'll just run through that. Renee, I think you had some things you wouldn't mind talking
Yeah, I
about.
got an old one. Yep.
So if you want to bring that, that'd be great. And, a little ways in here, we'll talk a little bit about a few other things and just have some fun. So Renee, why don't you
Fabulous.
take the stage for a minute and show us what you got in mind.
Oh, stall for 1 minute because I'm reposting our live stream to all the Facebook groups right now.
Okay, good. Well, that's a really great idea.
We're so organized.
Yes,
Hey,
we
well,
are.
how many people are planning on coming to the summit? So since Dan is doing something, I'll just chat about the summit. It's coming up next month, the end of March. There are still a few more spaces available.
There are.
If you're even considering it, it's a great way to really dive into Chief and really take your skills from and really elevate it.
So
It's a
believe
lot of fun.
We have a couple rooms left in the big house with
Got
private baths and everything. So if you're interested, as soon as they're gone, they're gone. So please check that out if you're interested.
And it's really beautiful. And now Margaret is saying it's 70 degrees there. So it's going to be warmer in North Carolina. So it's a beautiful location. It's all inclusive. But really, honestly, it's about really upping your game in Chief and in business, creating relationships with people. Really, it's just a really fabulous, all-inclusive week of Chief and business and design and just learning so many things. And if you're even on the fence on it, I highly recommend that you come and join us. It's a lot of fun, and I promise you'll walk away like with your head like going, oh my God, I've learned so much. So it's fabulous.
We've had a lot of comments from past attendees that, they went to this thing, they learned a ton about Chief, and then they learned about their business. And it was Doug, I think, was talking about, we had the sessions on pricing, and he went back and he raised his prices, not thinking he'd
There
get
you go.
it.
There's a win.
And
That's it.
He has he's really, the ROI he got from that summit was phenomenal. So Doug, if you're on the call, congratulations, and look forward to seeing you again because you're going to be there again this year.
I
Oh, that's
still
fabulous.
communicate with a lot of the people that we meet too. I mean, the networking part can't be undersold. It's awesome. You get to know.
Oh, absolutely.
like-minded
Renee, I'm
people.
actually doing a project in Connecticut and Laura is helping me. So Laura
Devlin?
lives in Boston. Yeah. So
Nice.
she has a cabinet line and she's going to help me on a project in Connecticut, which is really fabulous. So
See,
Very nice.
there's plenty of
connections
room.
are amazing. Yeah,
There's plenty of room in the world for everybody. So
absolutely.
it's fun to
Absolutely.
collaborate. I love collaborative design.
Yes.
Speaking of design, look at this disaster. Like I can't even see. This is awful. I think
Hopefully it's yours.
it is mine. I think I think I'm very sensitive nowadays to just too many lines on the screen, which is ironic considering my toolbars are ridiculous. But yeah, I can't even see when I see something like this. So this was something that was done, I think, back in 2013. And I mean, we needed some plans to do some plan review today. And I figured, okay, let me go dig up an old project. And yeah, this, if I open this up, I'd be like, oh, all right, price just went up. This looks like a pain in the butt to manage. This is
Now,
clearly.
Renee says that, and it's still probably more amazing than.
I don't know. I think it's actually pretty blasted on the interior side. We'll take a look. We can see that this was before save plan views were ever introduced, but we did have annotations, and I back then did not know how to modify my annotation sets, which are now default sets. So this wouldn't even be the right name. And I, for some reason, was working from the all on set, which, that's a mistake.
Oh my. It just goes to show we've all start from various backgrounds as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Junior looking setup here. Let's see if just the default set shows anything decent. No, the default set just looks like the all on set. So it's not great. This is so bad, in fact, that my first thought would be, let me take this and bring it into my current template plan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my first thought. I'll show you how to do that because it's pretty quick. Now, transferring to my template plan is a little more challenging because I got a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. So that's more challenging. Probably not going to get into that, but I'm going to use the edit area tool and get this all lined up. Something I like is I like to know on my template, like I open up whatever template you're using. I want to know what the center of the drawing sheet is, because if I'm going to transfer something to this template, I want to move my base model to the center of where my drawing is going to be on my new. There's a very specific reason why, and I'll show you. We'll just do a little test of this. I'm going to use the edit area tool, which is in your edit menu, drop down edit area. And I'm going to do all visible. No, I'm going to do just edit area. We've gone over this before, but all visible just means anything that's visible in the screen, means what layers are turned on, everything that's visible on just that floor. Edit area, all floors, right? That makes sure that we're just grabbing every single floor, everything that we've got, and edit area, all floors visible. Edit area is just your current floor. So I'm going to do edit area, all floors, and grab this guy. And then this will pop up, and it'll take a second because this is actually has a lot going on in this.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I'm going to do, what the heck is this? I've never seen this before. Allowed angles. You ever seen that before?
Yes.
I've never seen that. See, Robin, we were talking. I said, I learn stuff in Chief every day.
What is that? What is it?
I have no
Allowed
idea.
angles?
Allowed
Oh,
angles.
I know what it
I
is.
guess you could
I know what it is.
you get to set your increments.
If you go into plan, if you go into plan setup where you can turn the room area on and off, you'll have additional angles. And
You're allowed snap angles, right?
Yeah, right here. So
right
double
there.
click
You
your
can-
select objects tool, which is the arrow on your
Yep.
toolbars, and then you could add additional angles.
Yes.
Oh,
But I've never seen the
Oh.
pop up like that. That was kind of interesting.
So that'll
guess,
turn on or off your allowed angles.
I have no idea. We'll have to experiment. So I'm using edit area. I'm going to grab this. Again, it's got a lot going on here, so it's going to lag a little bit. And then I'm going to copy paste. And I'm going to come back over to my template. soon as it's done copying. I guess I could have picked a project that didn't have so much of whatever is slowing it down. Dead air. There it goes. And then I'm going to paste hold position. Now, you could click place. That's a way of doing this as well. My main problem with paste hold position, I like to paste hold positions so that if for some reason I needed to modify the source plan, if I copy that modification over and paste hold, I know it will get pasted in the correct place.
A lot of times I will move, I'll mark something on my new plan that I'm going to work in and
Yes.
put it over in the other plan, like mark the center. Then
Yeah.
I'll move that plan to the center. Then I'll do that edit area copy paste to the new plan. That way they're both in the same synced, location. And if I do have to do, like you say, you're going to copy or move something from the plan that you need again, it's there.
It's nice. Yeah. I want to note this warning. Default floor elevation of the new room is different from the default floor elevation in this template plan. And that's an important thing to note because, hey, let's do gang mentality. If everybody watching this, 64 people, went and sent into suggestions that Chief should make a way to automatically import the default floor elevations, they might do that for us. We've been asking for it for a decade.
It would be kind of
So
nice.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes.
Is it going to change the heights of your rooms in there, or is it just the default?
It will change the default height of your floor. So
Right.
any
But the
room,
existing rooms
any
that are
room
in
that's
there,
set
is
to
it gonna
use
be the height of
default, any room that's set to use default will take on the new default that's in the template, right?
So I always
okay.
go
Essentially
in.
ruining your project.
What I always do for the plan I'm copying it to, I'll create the same number of floors as the existing plan and set my defaults to be what they need to be to match that. And then I'll
Right.
copy it over. And
Yeah,
that
so this
tends
is-
to eliminate some of the issues, but you'll probably still get that pop up.
So let me ask a question on this. So the reason why you're moving it to a new layout is because you were in X13
New
and now
plan.
your plan was in X13 and now you want to do it in X16 because you can't just bring your layer sets and your save plan views into
The
X13.
save plan
No.
views and layer sets and everything is specifically what I want to.
That's why you're doing
inherit.
it. So that's
Yeah.
why you're moving it. That's why you're copying it into
Yeah.
a more current version instead of just editing in the same version, in the
Yeah.
existing version. Okay.
And so now that this is pasted and I get an edit handle, I actually want this project really center of the drawing sheet. So if I were to take this and move it now, here's where something is kind of funny with Chief is that this edit area isn't just moving the plan I just pasted, which is typical of anything that we copy paste in Chief. It also grabbed any other element that was in my existing template and moved it as well. Notice my sidebar just moved when I moved this whole thing. It moved all my elevation cameras. It moved everything that was already in my template plan with it.
Right.
And that's not something I wanted. I just wanted to move just the project. So that's why I use edit area beforehand and choose to move it in the source file first.
Right.
So I want to know where exactly my template is set up, the center of the screen. And we could figure that out real quick. Is that if I just turn on my drawing sheet, and I mean, here's one way of doing it is I'm just drawing a line and a line, and I'm picking up the coordinates by hovering over this. I could place a point, or I could just look down at the very bottom of my screen, which I can't show you that well, and that'll show me my XY coordinates way down here.
Yeah.
And so I can figure out what the center of my drawing sheet is that way. Once I know that, I could come back in to the source plan, go into the CAD menu, go into points, and I could place a point or input a point. If I input a point, that's going to bring up a little dialog box for me where I get to say, hey, I want a point at 0, 0 absolute location. That happens to be the center of my drawing sheet. Now I've got this point placed. Now I've got something to reference when I use edit area so that I can move this over.
Edit area, all floors, so you get all of the foundation, first floor, second floor. You get everything in the plan.
Now, here's the next part, since we're going to have to wait for this to load up anyways. Oh, actually, that worked pretty well. With this selection, we get a little bit of a point-to-point. So I kind of want this section right in here to be center of the drawing sheet. So I'm just going to do a little point-to-point, bam to bam. Look at that. Done. Now, before I copy this over, I'm skipping one thing that's really, really, really important, which is that I need to go to my template plan and turn off a couple things that are on in my template plan. One is I need to turn
Rene,
off build.
Rene, let's point out that when you selected everything, it did not select the X that you put in the center.
Yes, the X stayed the same.
They're not selected.
I do want to.
They don't print.
I do want to show something about that point in layout, because that's a really cool one that people kind of don't know about sometimes. But in my template plan, I have auto build roofs on, and I have auto build foundations on. Well, the plan I'm transferring over, it's got custom foundations. It's got custom roofs. So what happens when we use that edit area, paste it into your new template plan, and auto build foundations and roofs are on? Guess what?
A nightmare.
It rebuilds everything. Yeah. And all of a sudden you've lost your roofs, you've lost your foundation. You might not even known about it until you go print it and realize, oh shoot, I got a big problem.
Probably
So I need to make
different
sure I'm
words than
showing.
that, but
Yeah. Even Dan would be using different words.
I wouldn't say oh shoot or oh darn.
So I'm going to turn off automatic rebuild foundation. I'm going to turn off automatic roofs. It's funny when you turn off automatic foundations. Chief goes, "You want to build a new foundation from an existing floor plan?" And you're like, "No, I'm turning it off." I'm triggering Kevin right now. His inner demons are getting fired on all cylinders. So here we go. I've got my edit area, copy paste. I want to bring it now once that loads up, and I'll paste it into the new plan, and then we'll just start to kind of clean it up. Now, one more thing I don't love about this is that I might be bringing in a bunch of custom layers that I had in this old plan, and you could just ignore that, or you could take the time to go revert everything back to its default layers.
Only if they were used in what you're copying and pasting. I mean, you're not bringing the whole layer list. That's how I when I bring a DWG into a plan, I never bring it to the plan I'm working on. I put it in a different one. I then edit, turn off what I don't want. Then I copy and paste with edit area like you're doing into the plan I'm working on. So I only get the layers that are showing on the screen.
Yeah. Boy, this plan does not want to paste. There it goes. There's my
biggie there. No.
So here's that next part, is figuring out what that floor default is. Now I have the button on my toolbar for floor defaults. It looks like this guy over here, right? But you can always just get in from default settings into floor and rooms, and then floor levels. And so here's where I'm going to figure out what's my existing first floor. I love doing it this way. I just love taking a little screen clipping here.
Yep.
I love taking a screen clipping. It's a little time consuming. It's a little bit annoying, but I'll come in over on this side. I'll get to a kind of a blank area just off to the side here, and I'll just paste it.
Did you ever use the Chief Capture utility?
I don't. I know you do, and you're really good with it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's really it's phenomenal. The nice thing about it, it's a one. When you do the capture, it's there, done. Yeah, you don't have to copy paste it anywhere. So anyway,
we need to talk Chief. We need to push Chief though to make it so that you can capture your dialog boxes, because you can't do that with Chief Capture.
That's true. That's true.
It'd be great if you could just capture all the actual inputs and paste them. Would be even better.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have been able to do I couldn't have done what you just did with the dialog box, because I couldn't get to the copy command with the dialog box open.
Notice my plan is chunking all over the place, right? It's glitching. It's just moving very slow. And I have a very fast computer, arguably one of the fastest. And so what's happening here? It's because of all the vector lines that are being produced from these plants. Part of the reason that I have a particular tool on my toolbar is for this. It makes it really easy for me to hide a layer to improve the speed of my plan, which is I have this right on my toolbars.
Layer hider.
The
Yes.
layer hider.
When I
Yes.
show people that, they go, "Oh, cool!"
Yep.
It's one of Dan's favorites.
Yeah, I like
Man,
it.
layer
It's on
hider.
it's on
Yeah.
my list.
If you're
It's
looking at
definitely
other
one of your
people's
favorites.
plans, that tool is just invaluable. So I just want to get rid of these plants, and all of a sudden, look at that. I'm fast again. Cool. And so I've got my first floor defaults. I'm going to go set those up. I'm going to match exactly what I've got going on here. I just like to have this as a reference right on the sheet. Super easy. You know, boy, it's only off a, quarter of an inch. I don't even think I want to even show you. And then from here, it's just a little bit of cleanup and conforming this to my existing plan sets. And hopefully, after a little bit of work, I'm getting to something that looks pretty good. By the way, let's go look at this thing. I don't even know what this might look like.
You got to do one thing before you can see the terrain.
Oh, build it?
No, when you do the copy and paste of terrain from another plan.
Oh, you're right.
It doesn't copy the terrain perimeter. You have to go turn that back on and then set the height.
Well, actually, that's my
Same
terrain
thing if you
perimeter.
copy it from floor to floor too.
Is it the terrain perimeter?
Oh,
It's still
maybe
doing
not.
all it. It does all of the
Yeah.
settings
No,
and
you don't have
everything.
So what were you saying again about that?
Go back to the floor plan and click on the terrain perimeter.
Wow, Renee's learning
It's just gonna
something
be a
today.
cat.
This is so cool.
Well, you should have
Yeah.
known this. Rene knew this.
Oh, so I had a terrain perimeter. I need to go grab it. And it looks like I don't know.
It's
No,
offset.
it would have
Add
copied the
line.
line. It would have copied the line, but it doesn't copy the setting that it's a terrain perimeter. So you got to
Right.
go.
And I
you gotta
and
go
I
turn
had
that
one
back on.
already, right?
Yeah, it should be in there if you go turn everything on.
It's
But
on.
all of the
and who knows
contouring
what
lines
layer
and
it's
everything.
on.
Yeah, all
Who
the
knows?
contour lines for all of the different elements, they will keep their settings. So you just have to reactivate the terrain perimeter. So if you open the dialog for that
I'm
now, you
guessing-
see it's
I'm
just a
guessing
CAD
this-
line now.
Yep. So now I'm going to convert this into terrain perimeter, and I had to delete my existing terrain perimeter to even get this option.
Then you might have to set the height of it again, right there under uncheck automatic
If it had a height, right?
if it had a height, exactly.
Which, if we're looking at this correctly, I don't even see a terrain perimeter in here. Who knows?
So,
There it is.
so
Oh, there's a
that's one of
ridiculous.
that's one of those points that's confusing even among us. Even your terminology or what you had to do that. Why don't you repeat? Why don't you go back through that again about the things that do copy and don't copy when you're doing the edit areas, and then what you're really doing to correct the terrain perimeter.
Is your terrain perimeter turned on in that layer set, Rene? Oh,
Look
there
at
it is,
that thing way down there. Yeah. Who knows?
I do a lot of terrains, and I love the sea level functionality where we can set
Well,
it by sea level.
And
But it's
look,
just-
all my topo lines didn't come through either.
They should have. Maybe go try rebuilding terrain, see if that does anything. Because that maybe the maybe auto rebuild is turned off.
Let's see. Auto rebuild from the original.
No, just go to your terrain tools and turn on
Rebuild
rebuild terrain.
Yeah, it should have grabbed all this elevation data.
It should all be. It keeps that. That should all be there. Just go rebuild terrain.
Yeah, it should be auto generating. Let's see. Where is it? It's this guy.
If you double click on the terrain
Yeah,
perimeter,
it's
no,
auto built.
it is. No, it's not doing it. Oh, there's something goofy
Yeah.
on.
And it has none of the elevation contours.
Did it have it at the time?
Yeah. Oops.
Is it on the same floor as the was before?
Doesn't look like the terrain perimeter is lining up with the terrain contour line.
All right, let's try this. See if I can't copy these over. Well, now they're in the wrong place.
Maybe those didn't copy. Huh? I usually have that stuff turned on.
Hey, there's a little bit of magic. Now I just got to set
There you
the
go.
off.
All right.
Boy, we're getting stuck in the weeds on this one.
Yes, we are. That's the joy of plan review.
Yeah,
but bottom line
okay,
is,
so here's a really important note, and because this can get super confusing to people. Notice that this terrain right now is not up to my garage level. It's being set by, I think, some kind of median, is how Chief described it, like a median range of where your floor levels are set. So right now, if I uncheck automatic, and let's just say that subfloor height above terrain is 0 inches, let's see what it sets based on. It's going to set based on that lower, wherever my 0 is. Where
0 on
boy,
the floor that you have it on.
yeah, which that's interesting. Where'd it go? I don't even see it. Yeah, this is going to be a good show. Let's undo that a little bit.
Sometimes the joy of doing this, opening old plans, is you have to spend time figuring out all the things that are wrong. And that takes time.
Yeah.
Once you get them straightened out, then it usually goes pretty smooth.
Subfloor height. Well, I guess I'll go a little bit. I want this to raise up. And if this number is true, that's the actual number for whatever reason, then if I want to raise it up, this is the subfloor's height above the terrain. So if I want to shrink that height, I'm actually going to decrease this number. And it looks like I'm going to decrease it by about 8 feet or something. Let's see if that works.
Again, that number.
Thank you, Mike.
That
Mike
number
is
is
right.
What did Mike say?
Mike said creating, breaking, and fixing problems are the best kinds of episode.
yes.
So we're here for you, Mike. So Mike is.
Terrain should be easier than this.
Agreed, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life should be easier than this. But you're right, Chad.
Yeah, if we go look at the originals terrain, this was a complex terrain to build. I remember that.
So Alan, Rene is, his computer is like out of this world. It doesn't even look like a computer. Seriously, it does not even look like a computer. But it's
fast
crazy
PBR.
fast.
You guys want fast PBR? I'll show you the old settings that I had in here, which is way too high on the sample rate. I'm going to kick this down to like 50.
Show everybody how you got to that menu, Rene.
This is your rendering technique options. So if you're on the default toolbars, and obviously you don't have a couple of these extra toolbars, rendering technique options.
It's a little house that's blue, has a blue roof, and it's a white building.
No,
That's
it's a
your
little
rendering.
icon that looks like a page with a pencil on it.
No, you
No,
can also get to it through the rendering technique.
My
maybe.
rendering technique options, not edit.
No, I'm showing how
yeah.
you got to the menu where you're changing that number.
Yeah, that's rendering technique options. That's not the edit
Oh,
view.
all right.
And for some reason, my default toolbars don't have it. It should look like, where are we at with this? Oh, here we go. So you can always double click whatever active tool is here, and it will bring you to rendering technique options, in case you didn't know that. It doesn't matter what rendering option you're on currently. If you double click that, it will bring you to rendering technique options, where you could switch.
It's a fun place to spend a lot of time.
Double click what?
Double click your whatever your rendering is in right now. So
Just click on the
I'm in
option.
standard.
Okay.
If I'm in a standard rendering, if I double click this, it'll bring up rendering technique options over here.
There you go. Cool.
I'm going to switch to physically based. This is a good just base number out of the box, something like that. My new standard is that I do have sun on. I do use a backdrop. My backdrops, the ones I use, are usually better around 15,000. If you really have a slow machine and you want it to be a little bit faster, I'd say set this to 2, set this to 2. That's going to speed you up a little bit. If you've got a super slow machine, then you're going to want to set those to 1 and keep your maximum samples down. If you have a slow machine, I would tell you to edit the active view, and under AMD Fidelity FX, which is in the camera panel, you could tank this down to quality, balanced, or super slow machine performance. If you've got a Mac M1 chip, which does ray trace very, very slowly, you're going to want to limit the resolution of your window, which means you're going to want to shrink that window down. And you're going to want to turn on this performance. You're going to set your samples really low. You're going to set your bounces to 1 and 1 if you've got a Mac M1. All right, so I'm going to keep this on native resolution. Next thing I like to do is bring in a little.
Hang on a second, Rene. So if you guys are really wanting to get into rendering, this is what Rene's going to be really diving deep in at the summit. So if you're really interested in rendering, this is just a little snippet of the tools that you'll be getting at the summit.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a full day of rendering at the summit because it's a big request. And then I personally like to process stuff in AI after I've rendered. So I'm kicking this to something like 10,000 sun, which is going to turn that way down. And then I'll rotate it around to just create a little bit of shadows, and I'll get to rotate that backdrop. I also like to underexpose my stuff because I'm also using AI to kind of fix some of that as well. So
What program do you use to fix up your photos?
I just paid for something called Kriya AI, so I've been using that. The main thing about it though is that you need a rendering that already looks good, and so you do have to spend the time to kind of get there, and then from there you can get some pretty fantastic shots. So I could screenshot this right now and probably get a pretty good output from it.
Yeah,
Just do it real quick.
Well, if you turn your sample rates up, that'll clean it up a little bit too, won't it?
It will, but for the AI-based side of this stuff, I don't even need that. I'm going to do more work. I'm going to do more work on top of this in Photoshop when I'm done. But
oh, sure,
I'm going to bring this to Kriya.ai, click into the enhancer, and I'm going to find that screenshot I just took. Notice I didn't even bother exporting the image. I didn't even bother upping the resolution of the image because it's going to upscale it here. So
Kriya.ai.
Yep. I'm going to increase the strength here.
Is it just CREA, Rene?
Yeah. KREA.ai. And I'm not going to go too far into this because this is something I put on my channel or whatever, but I do have some videos on this on YouTube. But yeah, we'll see what happens to this in just a minute. Anyways, it's clear I have all this landscaping, and now I have to go do that work to transfer this or get that terrain in the right area on this other plan, because notice we don't have any of that on this other plan. So some trick that I like to do to correct this is I'll just pull an elevation camera, and I just like to use a line and measure the line to get what my offset needs to be. So it's clear my terrain is too high by this amount.
Yeah.
So there's my terrain right there. I pull a line, I bring it down, I hit tab or enter, and it's going to tell me, hey, I need to drop my terrain 17.5 inches. I should be able to select my terrain right here. I know that I did, even though it didn't give me any feedback. I know that I did because my edit toolbar is indicating it's picking up terrain. And I can just say, hey, let's see. Subfloor height up. This always confuses me. Subfloor height above terrain, and I want to shrink that height. No, I want to increase that height. So this time I'm adding 17.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that should drop that down to the floor level. And in fact, it looks like I even needed to drop it down a little bit lower. Looks like I needed
typically. I always set that level at basically my garage floor height. Just as a rule of thumb. There's no real hard core, there's no specific, you just got to get in the right place. I always start with the garage floor. AMD setting must be specific to the operating system. There's similar setting for NVIDIA.
Nope, that is just why am I going to forget this term? Shader. That's just who built the shader. It's just called AMD Fidelity. It's not specific to AMD, so you can still use it on an NVIDIA-based machine.
Yeah.
Boy, all kinds of problems in this plan. Look at this.
Well, let's not worry about that stuff right now. I mean, it's one of those things. You just, when you focus in on what the problems are, you'll figure them out. We don't have time in a show like this. So, but so you just bring in that image that you've done? You just copy paste the image? You do
I
screen capture and paste it into
screen
the app?
capture and upload it and let it do its thing. It usually takes anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes to kind of
Okay.
work some things out.
So you can't just do a screen capture, copy, paste. You have to save it as a file and then upload it.
Yes, I think I've never tried that. We talk about file and folder organization. I'm on a PC, and I changed something on my PC that Windows warned me about, but I have never had any regrets about this, which is when you use the screen capture tool, which is the same thing as hitting print screen or Windows Shift S, that by default sends it to your My Pictures folder under the folder screenshots by default. When I'm on Chrome, we have a default downloads folder in Windows, right? And so that's in Documents, Downloads. I had to do a registry edit to do this, if you've ever heard that term. I changed the default location of where my screenshots go
Stay away from that.
to downloads. So when I take a screenshot or when I download something, it all goes to downloads. And downloads to me is something that I don't care about deleting over time.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
no matter what, I'm always just going to the same place for whatever I'm downloading or screen capping or what have you.
Of course, I use Snagit, and Snagit stores it in its own little programs library, and then you can do a save as into any folder you want. So that's what I use for most of my captures. So just another way to do it. Whole tons of ways to do it.
Yeah, this
actually, is that true? Let me think.
What do you got? You want to share your screen?
No, that's all right. Go ahead. I was just seeing if the print screen button allowed you to save it separately, but it doesn't.
All right.
It allows you to capture just part of the screen now, which it never used to.
Here's our before after.
I love those sliders like that.
Yeah, always nice. So there's some things that, it did really well. And then other things where you notice, it's putting a lot of texture on this. And that's got to cue you in to go back into your model and remove something that's got heavy texture so that it performs better. So it does take a little back and forth. What's great here is it did a wonderful job with a lot of the plants and stuff, right? I can download this and then very easily come into my Photoshop, which to me, you're a rendering artist. I always say this, you always need Photoshop. By the way, there is a site that I know of where you can get almost every feature of Photoshop, but I think it's for free. It just has ads on the side, and that's called photopea.com. And I'll show you that in just a second. So this is my source image, and then I get to drag on the new image. And if I wanted to, in Photoshop, we have something called mask, where you're just masking off part to reveal a layer underneath. And it's just done by a brush. So I added a mask. I can just mask out the non-textured part of the original just to get, the parts underneath to show so that this looks a little bit better, right? So this is the kind of stuff I am going to go over, when we're.
Rene is a certified, qualified expert in Photoshop. And if you have any questions about Photoshop, he's the guy you want to talk to. That's why he's so heavy into images. I mean, you spent quite a few years studying and doing image work, didn't you, Rene?
Yeah, I've been in Photoshop since I was 13 years old. So yep. And look at that. That looks pretty good. Why not? It looks like a painting.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool.
Well done.
Go sell it.
And now, did you finish the process of moving the project into the new plan?
No.
Okay, just bringing you back.
No.
Bringing you back.
No, that's cool.
I want to know where all my landscape features are. They must be on a layer that I don't have turned on. That's got.
I would assume, this is where I might turn on all layers and check what's going on and see if it's there.
Yeah.
If it's not there, then you know that something's missing.
Terrain features.
Of course, Rene had to pick out one of the toughest plans to do a copy into a template type of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of an old standard that I'm pulling up here somehow. Yeah, it's funny the terrain features aren't showing up.
But Yeah. So the big thing to remember here is edit area. You can use it for a ton of things. One use you might have is like if you're working on complicated roofs. I do this once in a great while, and you have this room that would be really nicely done, and if you could auto rebuild again, but once you stop
Mhm.
auto rebuilding, you're not supposed to use it. Well, make a copy of your plan, auto rebuild your plan to get the part above the area you want it, like a round room or something like that. And then you could use edit area or and hold position back in your plan, or just highlight the roof planes and copy paste hold position. So that works really well too.
Yeah,
But,
this is
yeah, there's a little bit going on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone had some fun.
Yeah. This isn't showing those terrain features, so they didn't get copied. So there's, another case in
Wonder
point
why.
of, yeah, no idea.
It should have.
They should have.
You did all
Yeah,
floors.
There
You
they
didn't
are.
You didn't use only visible layers. You used all
Yeah,
layers. It should
I
have copied
thought.
them. Oh, go figure. All right.
Well, I just paid both of them. Let's see what happens.
That'd be an example. Now you just turn everything off
There it
except
is.
those. Okay,
Look
so
at
it did
that.
copy it. All right.
No, I just had to do it again.
Oh, okay.
So great case in point of why the paste hold position's powerful.
Yes.
If you've got your projects in the same coordinate space.
So
Hey,
one of the
that.
things
That
that you were
almost
going
looks
to
good again.
one of the things you were going to talk about is how that mark that you put at 00 doesn't show up on layout, or it doesn't print.
Oh yes.
Doesn't
So this is
Somebody has to keep you on track, Rene. This is the
I know.
plan.
I went
It's
way
like a
off
goal
track
here.
already.
That's all right.
Yeah, I blame you. You mentioned rendering, I think.
I didn't mention rendering. That wasn't
you thought
me.
it.
I was.
You thought it, Robin. Come on, I heard you think it.
No.
I'm gonna bring up a particular plan that's already kind of set up and a great use case for these points, which is and if this
Let
person's
me ask
watching, this has been a challenge.
Why is it so important to have your plan at 00? Is it just so that way you can move things around and you can use that point marker? Is that why is it so important to have your plan centered at 00?
Historically, Chief does not perform well the farther you are away from 00. The model, the farther away the model is from 00, they will even tell that still to this day as a troubleshooting thing to test first.
Bottom line
Okay,
is,
so
bottom line in Robin, Chief's a CAD program, and everything is calculated mathematically. And if you move your plan way away from 0, when Chief recalculates all the math to build your 3D model or your 2D drawing, the numbers are going to be a lot bigger. So
okay, so
it's
how
a lot
do you
easier to go 10 times 10 versus 10,000 by 10,000, which is
so
if
for
you
those
put
of
it
you
off
who
in the
don't know how to
distance.
find it, how do you find 00 on your plan? How do you get your plan? How do you find that point to mark your plan?
You'll have to pay closer attention than Robin did and go to CAD points, input point.
Oh, I was just asking you to repeat it. I was paying attention.
And then you can punch in an absolute location of 00. There we go.
Okay.
And when I press OK, that did place a point at 00, which on this one happens to be way up here. I want to note that the delete key, when you're not selecting anything, the delete key will remove the last point, whatever that point may be. So, and notice that the last point is highlighted amongst the other points. And then this is what I use points for. And let me go ahead and hit the delete key. You're going to notice that one is now gone. This one's now highlighted. Okay. I use points in layout because in my key for this is sequential keys. We have hotkeys that are sequential, meaning I get to hit one key and right after that hit another key, and that could be a hotkey for something. So for me, place point is PP, and then I'm going to place a point here. I want you to notice something. When I place it here and I go to another page, that's on the next page as well. All points live on all pages and they don't print. So this is a really great tool for aligning elements across your pages. And I'm such a stickler about this. You'll notice this point down here across all my pages, I have my label lined up there on all pages. It doesn't matter what kind of view it is. I fight to get this, and you can see all these pages and it's going to line up.
It's nice when you line things up.
Yeah, my building lines up across all pages.
Yep.
What's really great is I think a lot of us have taken someone else's plans and needed to trace over them. Well, you've had to maybe scale a PDF. It's really nice to just scale a PDF one time, change the reference page, and have it still line up so you don't have to rescale the next page. And so
So is this how you mark your elevations as well? So you'll mark like the floor elevation and you'll put a mark there and then it will always go to that same point?
It doesn't, I don't place based on points, although you can.
Mhm.
I don't personally. I always will, I'll show you a little trick and we'll just do this in a brand new plan. When I've got a building and I've got an elevation and I want to line up from finished floor to finished floor, and this is the
Mhm.
elevation I'm sending, and let me just do a shift new. I'm going to do a new plan layout, excuse me. And let's just get to a blank page. Sure, here. So I'm going to send this elevation to view, which I don't need to necessarily open that elevation to send it to view. We just do it from the edit toolbar. Send camera elevation to view.
You can group select those cameras too and send them.
Yeah.
Elevation.
Here's how I'll do it is I'm just going to move this guy up. I'm going to copy paste, drag out a copy. So I just made a copy I hit the copy paste button,
Mhm.
drag the center handle straight down. If you drag it with your left, or excuse me, your right click, it will move orthogonally straight down. And then I'll relink this to a different elevation. This is a really
Nice.
simple way to get these things going, right?
Yeah.
And that's going
Since
to take
they added this relinking of views, it's just phenomenal. God, that's
Now-
been great.
in the method, even if you want a live view, I'd say just for a second, switch to plot lines, just for a second. And then what I'll do from here is I'll actually bring my camera down inside of the building. And then I'll hit tab or enter so I know exactly how far I moved this so I can move it back, some known dimension, 500, sure. Okay. Now when I go back to layout and I update this particular view, what's happening is here is because we're sending as plot lines, these are now snappable points. So if I wanted to align this floor, I could do a point-to-point move, actually pick up the snap that's the finished floor level and line it up with the finished snap of the floor level over here if I had it displayed. And that way I've got my floors lined up side by side.
Yeah.
So just this, full circle. I could do the same thing here. I could bring this in, come back here, update this view. Say that I'm doing this side by side. I got a really big sheet size, so I can do that, right? So I'm just selecting this little point to point, picking up a line that I know is lined up. There we go. That building is lined up side by
I
side.
love that. Yeah, I love that all of our areas are snappable on the layout pages now. All right, let's move on.
Hold on,
Renee,
I want to share one more thing.
Okay, you got 1 minute.
Yep. I want to move this back over. I'm going to right click.
That's not a computer minute.
I'm going to hold my S key. It's not going to pick up any snaps. So now I'm truly just dragging this to the left. And then I move those elevations back, update the views. There you go. Less than a minute.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
You did it. Nice job, Renee. Thank you. Good job on that. That's whenever you open up an old plan like that and look at it and go, oh my God, what am I in for? That happens. So Robin, you had sent over a plan.
And you guys, this is it's not a working drawing. It's just an example for my students.
You just got
okay.
started here. Let me bring Chief over onto the screen here.
Yeah, there's no judgment here.
You were starting to lay some things out. You had a question about something not showing up when you switched to view.
We drew the house in 1/4 inch, and then when you go to the 1/2 inch framing plan, it disappears.
When you go to the 1/2 inch framing plan.
Yes. So you go to 1/2 inch.
That would be because I'll just say yes to that. That because the plan has nothing in it related to framing. All right. So when you turn your layers
when you put it at quarter,
a framing plan is.
Hold on. When you put it at 1/4 inch plan, when you go back to 1/4 inch framing, it's there.
Yeah, that's because the 1/4 inch framing plan is probably set up to display something different than the 1/2 inch. So you must have your walls turned on here in this view. So if we look at, here's your walls normal down here.
right?
Oops.
Oh, they're
Uh,
turned on. If you look in the
So if we go to the 1/2 inch one and we go to walls
Mhm.
normal, let's see if they're turned on. Walls normal. They're turned on. Okay. But got to have something to do with the layers then. Because they're there. We know they're in the plan. So something
Right.
is shut off. So it's probably wall layers. Let's look at that. And that's not it. So it's got to be something, one of those.
Yeah, I
Framing,
don't know
I
why
see
that's
it.
happening. And
I
it's
see it. Did anybody else see it?
no,
saw
what
it.
was it? What was it? What was it?
Go back to the 1/2 inch one.
Yeah.
There it is right there.
What is
Right.
it? What was it?
You're in the attic on the 1/2 inch one, and you're on the first floor.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm so See, I told you it was user error. I told you it was user error. Yeah,
So it was
okay.
attic walls that were probably turned off.
That's
we were in
and I
the
was
attic.
my layer was I was on the wrong
why?
floor. Oh,
You probably
Framing
probably
floor.
saved your view when you were in the attic.
yes. Yeah, okay.
So it keeps
Well,
back to
there
that
you
floor every time.
go.
Yeah. I've
Thank
had
you,
that happen
guys.
before. People
Yeah,
have
okay.
asked what's
I'm
going on.
hanging my head in shame, but thank
That's all
you.
right. That's how you learn.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
You gotta love it.
You gotta love it when it's so. You guys, I do need to share this with you. I was working on a project for my students, and I was trying to get a dormer in. And no matter how many times I tried getting the dormer in, the roof was still there, right? So, but I did it on one side of the house, and it turned out perfectly. The other side of the house, I could not do it. So I called Dan. I said, Dan, I need you to help me. When I'm doing blah blah blah, oh my God, it's working. All I had to do was have Dan on the phone, and it fixed.
That happens to my wife too.
I don't know what I did. I don't know what was going on, but here's my favorite thing that Dan tells me. If it's not working, turn it off, turn it back on, and it may work. So
that
I have to
happened
tell
in
you, I
class.
appreciate it.
It happened in class the other day. One of the guys was having something happen and it wasn't doing what you thought it should do. So I said, turn chief off and reopen it. Poof, it was there. So
Yes.
there's a lot of truth to that. Sometimes the memory, chief stores stuff in memory. And the active memory on your RAM. And sometimes it just gets stuck. Don't know why. No explanation. It's just one of those things.
Thank you guys for helping me fix that. Thank
Yes,
you,
no problem.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
What did she say? It's my favorite solution to tell someone an issue I'm having so it will magically resolve. There you go.
That's so true.
My wife will say, Dan, this isn't working. So I'll walk up next to her computer and touch her and then it works. It's like, so I do have that touch.
I think you have to answer
There's a
John's question here.
Yeah, there you go, Dan.
Experts Academy is coming soon. I'm not going to give it an exact date because I'm adding a lot of stuff to it.
The class he was referring to was he taught in Iowa.
Kevin, your audio is really garbly.
Really hard to hear you.
I was talking to Kenny today, Dan, and he said that he got that glimpse of that thing that you sent out by accident. And he said what he saw, it looks pretty cool.
What thing was that?
When you sent out the Pro
you
Academy
leaked something here
a couple weeks ago. And then you changed it to now you get into an oops page. You sent out an email.
Oh,
and
okay.
He clicked on it right away and he saw a little bit what you were doing. He said it looks pretty cool.
I mean, it just, I've had the Pro Academy going for a long time and they really didn't do a ton to it over the years. I've added some content and things like that. So I just, a few months ago, I shut it down. The people that are still part of the Pro Academy, you're good to go. You're going to be part of the new Pro Academy. No difference. You won't see any difference in your pricing or anything like that. You just get the whole new Pro Academy. New people, of course, it'll be a different, pricing will be a bit different because I'm adding so much stuff. And I'm doing a whole new website theme, whole new web layout. We're going to do live classes. Twice a month we'll have a whole Beef Architect days. We'll have Q&A. We'll have some courses. We'll have some plan review. So if you guys are active in that and you need help, you'll have a place to do it twice a month.
I had someone ask me what's going on with that, and I said, all I
Yeah.
know is Dan said don't bug him, and he's been gone for 3 months, and he's not been a very good friend to us.
Oh, we have to.
So it better be good.
I haven't been gone. Oh, it'll be good. It's just part of this whole process of doing this is just like, I was going to try to get it done at a certain time. And I said, I'll get it done when I get it done, and it'll be ready to go soon. I've got a lot of things figured out, and that was a big part of it. I just wanted to get it done. One of my goals with something like this is there's, because as with Chief, we know there's a lot of stuff going on in the program. So it's really complicated. It's complicated to teach it. It's complicated to find out when you need an answer for something.
Yes.
So it's just all of those things go hand in hand. So I came up with some different ideas on how to do some things, how to present things. I'm trying to make it easy. I want to get more into the live, again, like this, we're live, we're answering questions, we're taking questions. And I haven't done that in Pro Academy for a long time. So that's going to be a big part of it. So you'll have access to us, to me, and to you guys too, because you'll be on there every now and then. And I'm creating lots of short videos for certain topics, which will be really helpful, which will be part of it. So I'm focusing on right now. I've been working on keystroke and keystroke shortcuts for a long time now. I've got about 400 of them laid out. I've got about 75 of them that I really want to teach you guys how to use, because they really make it go fast when you're doing things, if you can learn some of these shortcuts. And so that'll be a big part of starting out the Pro Academy, and those will be there. Anyway, so and I'll keep adding things to it regularly. So that's a big part of it. So we'll have some fun with
Rene,
it. So I appreciate your guys' patience. It'll be there.
Rene, you need to respond to Margaret on her hat. You need to order it online, Rene. They'll deliver that way. That's what he told me. I'm going to see him in 2 weeks, and he said for me to do that.
I specifically found a vendor that offers pink hats, so it's on my website now. You can get it right now.
Yep. I would love to do a show from the perspective of an interior designer. I would love to do that. Yes. Thank you, Chad.
That's a good topic.
We'll work on that, I promise. And yes.
Kevin, you had some really good ideas that you came up with at the training that we were at this week. So that'll be fun to share some of that information that you came up with.
Yeah, we're looking. I was thinking about holding sessions that would really just address the confusion that especially beginners, intermediates experience. Like, okay, you told me what to do, but why does that happen? Why does it work? Why does it not work? What happens if? So I think it would be an interesting thing to address, just confusion.
Yeah. So we're not done by a long shot. So we got a lot of things we're doing. We're having some fun with it.
But I do want to say, Chad, if you have some specific questions, I would be really happy just to chat with you about it. You're welcome to email me. I think you have my number. You're welcome to give me a call, and I'd be happy to chat with you about that.
There you go.
Chad, is Chad coming to the summit?
No, I think Chad's kind of busy building a house.
It's going to be so sad not seeing Chad.
I know, Chad. We're going to miss you, dude.
It's so sad.
No way.
Yeah. We're going to miss you, bud. So you're welcome to stop in if you want.
I'm not letting anyone sit in your seat, Chad. It's just going to sit there and stay empty. I'm going to put a bunch of pillows strapped together and a little face.
I think so. Well, we need to.
You still have
it's going to be missing
get
something
a mustache
really
cup to sit in this spot.
It's going to be very sad not seeing
Send us your mustache workstation sculpture you've got. And
if you look at Chad has a world award-winning, world-class mustache. He's big into
a national award,
and it's really cool.
Chad is award-winning.
Yes, Chad is award-winning, and so is his mustache. It goes with him.
He is absolutely, right. And a really nice guy.
And he is a very nice guy, and an extremely excellent designer and chief user. So
yes, absolutely.
We had a question way back at the beginning.
Yeah, what was that question?
Hang on a second. Hang on. We had a question.
All right, because we're about done here.
Trying to put it up here.
Right there, message.
Why isn't it going up? There it is.
It's right there.
Tool usage. Anytime you get error message in Chief, especially those that crash you out, the number one thing I always recommend you do is update your video drivers. If you're on a Mac, that's a moot point. but video
So
drivers will always cause crashing. Rene, have you experienced that?
yes, but he's saying he has a write error. And if you're saying that correctly, then that's typically because you've got, when you got your machine, you said, yes, I want to back up things, which means that by default, Chief Architect is being installed so that its data directory is in OneDrive and it's trying to actively sync.
Oh,
And because Chief is locking files and OneDrive is trying to cache and do redundancy checks and write to those files, you could be getting a lockup experience there because of
yeah.
that.
Check,
So
check.
it's,
Yeah. If you go to preferences, files, did you put your data folder in a OneDrive situation? I checked that. If you switch it back to just your C drive in your program documents folder, that's where that's where general is. User libraries, those are fine to put in a OneDrive situation, Dropbox, things like that. I never recommend to put your data files in online on a cloud service.
Now that's interesting, because I think when I think Rene, didn't you suggest you keep yours offline? Because I keep mine
I
now
keep
on
my
my
data
on my
offline.
yeah, I keep my data on my G drive, and I haven't had any problem with it. Not on Dropbox. I have had issues with Dropbox, but I haven't had any issues with it on G drive.
Well, and let's distinguish the difference between data and plan and layout files I have on Dropbox.
Yes,
And
all
when I
day
say
long.
that,
Yes.
when I say that, I mean my files are on my hard drive and synced to Dropbox. Let me
Yes,
share my
mine
screen
too.
real quick, Dan.
Yeah, well, you got yours. Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just showing you this as an option. Let me get my Windows Explorer up here.
Preferences.
So
you're in.
On any one of these folders or files, if you right click and get into, this is for Dropbox, but similar for Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, etc., iCloud, is that most of them have this: make online only, make available offline. You want to make sure that your files you're working on are made available offline. This is a little
Good
different
point.
on OneDrive, but it's basically the same thing. Online only means it's pulling it off the hard drive, and we have a shell representation of your folder. And when Chief tries to access that, causes problems.
Yes.
This is different from the data location in Chief, where
can you go to your Dropbox settings down in the system tray down there? Just right click on it. Go to your Dropbox system and go up to go show them where you can click on your picture there and go to preferences. And then in here, if you can go to, if you have a laptop and you have a big Dropbox folder, you can specify only store my data folders on my plans on my laptop.
Yeah.
The other thing, you can do selective sync. If you hit select,
I do selective sync because I archive a lot of projects where I don't want them taking storage up on my hard drive.
Right. But if you need to make room, but you only need certain files, but you need some on your desktop, but you only need certain ones on your laptop, then do selective sync on your laptop and only get your folders for your plans and things like that.
And this is same for OneDrive, Google Drive. They all have the same kind of option.
Yeah.
Maybe called a little different, but for Chief, I make sure that my data folder is actually my data folder itself is actually on OneDrive. I don't care about my backup so much if I lose a little file here, because Dropbox has a version history. But I make sure that my library folder is off of any kind of cloud-based thing, because that is my most valuable thing that I want to store. So I keep this offline and I periodically back it up. So there's the difference there. And then if you do lose data, you can always go to that project or your data, et cetera, and you almost always have the ability to see a particular file. If I were to just come in here and see.
So unlike Rene, I do store my user library in the cloud. So when I open any of my other computers, my user library is the same on all of my computers.
Yeah.
So if I add
Well,
something
and
to
I
main
thought
computer.
I heard that you shouldn't save it on.
For a second?
I heard that you're not supposed to save onto OneDrive. I heard that it's, I don't know who told me. I thought it was you, Rene, who said to put your data drive on
my data
your
drive on
G
OneDrive.
drive.
Not the
Okay.
data. I'm talking about
Not the
user
data
library.
file, right?
So if you do lose data, all of these have a version history. And so I can come in there to version history. It's going to bring up Dropbox Online, where I might have the option to pick a previous version. That's really important if we're trying to recover data. If you have data being actively written to your user library, what will happen is OneDrive sees that the file is locked. It will save it anyways and add a suffix _1. Chief will not see something with a suffix _1. So you've effectively made a new version and you're getting reverted to your old version. So you are losing data. Go check out your data folder. If you got a bunch of them and where they've got a bunch of underscores 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means you've got a bunch of redundant copies that Chief is just not going to see.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, as you can see, if you run into some of these problems, Rene can help you. Just call him and you
Well,
can
let
hire
me
him
ask.
to give you a
Can I
hand.
ask a question on it? Can you save
Real
it to two different? I have two drives. I have two G drives. One is for the college, and one's my personal. Can you save it to two drives or not at all? That's not an option. It's only one drive. You can't save them. You can't have it go.
I'm sure there's a way to
ways.
do it, but not through
Dropbox does not allow symbolic links, but OneDrive, I think, still does. So yes, technically you could.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Anyway.
okay.
All right, we got to go. We're over the show. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Hope this was
guys.
helpful. And we'll see you in a few weeks. So, and, if you have
Hey, we're gonna
questions about
Robin. You're going to
Summit,
KBiz?
let us know.
I am. You guys, I'm up for a
We'll be at
really big
KBiz.
award at KBiz. So
I
if
know.
you're going to be there, huge award. So my grandson, he's going to come and say hi.
You guys
gotta
are in the
say hi to my
presence of
grandson.
greatness here.
Say hi to
Yep.
everybody.
Hi. Nice to see you. All right. See everybody.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.